Alright guys, ranking time. So let's rank the Fly films, all five. I got that beautiful Scream Factory edition months back, and I finally watched all of them like a month ago. I had originally only seen the original Fly and the 86 Fly, and I did not see any of the sequels to any of the films. So this was an interesting first watch for some of these sequels, and I want to say that I enjoyed all of them, though, even if there are some that are, of course, ranked lower. I did enjoy every one of these movies in some way. It's an interesting franchise, so let's get started. Number 5, I really had a hard time picking between The Fly 2 and Return of the Fly, but I eventually decided to go with Return of the Fly as my number 5. Return of the Fly is a sequel to the first The Fly from 1958, and it's about the kid Philippe, who is grown up. He's the kid from the first movie, and he is doing the same thing that his dad did again, but with Francois there as well, who Vincent Price plays, and Vincent Price returns, which is awesome. But it's one of those movies that is just kind of the same movie again, and it didn't really add much to it because it's just the son doing it this time, and it's in black and white, which I think is a cool thing, because you would think if you didn't see the first movie, the first Fly in 1958, you would have assumed that was black and white. It's so weird that the first one is in color, and then the two sequels after the original Fly are in black and white, but I think that does differentiate them and makes that kind of cool. So I did like it in black and white, and I don't know, like, it's one of those movies where, again, it's the same as the first one, but there wasn't a lot brought into it that really made me really remember this one that well. I mean, I did enjoy it for the most part okay, but it's my number 5 for a reason. Number 4 is The Fly 2, the sequel to David Cronenberg's classic. And this one, I gotta say my positives first. The gore in this is fantastic. Like, this is great gore. This is a great, entertaining movie that you should watch if you're a fan of gore. It's more towards the end than anything, but, like, whenever there is gore in this movie, it rocks. It's awesome. The thing about this movie that I, on first watch, haven't really thought about much is the characters. I really didn't care as much for Martin Brundle as much, or the girlfriend. I thought they were fine, but I never was invested in the movie like I was in the original Fly or the Cronenberg The Fly. This one, the characters are fine, but maybe if I watch it again I might like them a little more, but the characters are the weak point for this movie for me, in terms of I don't really find anything about them interesting. But the movie has good gore. It's paced okay. It's a little more slow than I expected in terms of watching all these movies. It's one of the least interesting, apart from Return of the Fly. But I put this over Return of the Fly because of the gore. The gore is awesome. But both this and Return of the Fly are kind of in between on. They're just kind of forgettable. Number 3 would be Curse of the Fly. Curse of the Fly is the third movie in the original Fly franchise, and it's one of those movies that it actually does something different. It's like the descendants of the family, but they're doing things where they're still using the teleportation stuff, but it's not about the Fly. And it's so weird it's called The Fly, Curse of the Fly. But I guess it's literally the curse of the family who keeps bringing back using this technology. And I think that this one is more interesting than the last two I just talked about, because I felt like the story was different enough that I was kind of invested a little more. I like these characters. I like kind of the creepiness. I like the B-movie feel of it. It's very B-movie. For example, there's a scene where a character finds a person with their faces all screwed up because of this teleportation stuff. And it's very much like the original Fly, where whenever you see the monster, it's not scary, it's funny, but it's good still. I still enjoy it. It's very B-movie quality. And I really did enjoy the ideas of this movie, but it's not as great as the ones that I'm going to put at number 1 and number 2, because again, it's a first watch for this one as well. The last 3 movies in this ranking are all 3 ones that I've just watched for the first time, but I think this one is solid enough with its story and its characters that I did enjoy this one more than The Fly 2 or Return of the Fly. Enough so with the ideas. I like the ideas of this one. Number 2 is The Fly from 1958. This one is one that I watched a long time ago, and I've seen it a couple times, and I really, really enjoy this movie. This is a great movie, and Vincent Price is awesome. All the acting is good in this movie, and I really like this. This is way different than the Cronenberg one, but it's like you have two different movies, even though they're both the same story. And I like how in the original The Fly, you have this mystery, like the wife of the guy who's killed at the beginning of the movie. You don't know what's going on, and she won't tell what's happened. And I really appreciate the fact that this movie does like this mystery buildup of like you see the end of the movie, and then it goes backwards, and you figure out with this realization of what is going on. And I think that this has B-movie quality that just is really entertaining and fun, and I really enjoyed every minute of it. Like, I really think that it's got a lot of creepy moments still. It's got a lot of fun moments. It's a very B-movie, but that's totally awesome. I really enjoy movies like this. And it really was a great time. And I always enjoy rewatching The Fly from 1958. And then my number one, of course, is The Fly from 1986. There was not any competition besides the original Fly, which I enjoy a lot. But The Fly from 1986, David Cronenberg, is fantastic. This movie is so freaking amazing. Like, I love everything about The Fly from 1986. I've always loved it since I've seen it a while ago. Like, years ago, I've always loved it. And I've seen it a couple times. I always think that this is some of the best practical effects I've ever seen in a horror movie. This and like The Thing, which are two remakes that really are really considered to be some of the best remakes of all time. And I really love this movie. I love the direction Cronenberg does. I love how it's different enough from the original movie. It's not a story where the ending starts and then you go backwards. This is just about showing Seth Brundle and his girlfriend Veronica while he goes down this spiral of using this teleportation machinery, and like he slowly becomes the Fly, and it is some of the most grotesque stuff you'll ever see with practical effects in a horror movie, and it's just incredible. The characters are both so likable and so charming. Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis just bring so much great chemistry and so much great everything. They have great performances, and I really love every scene that they're in, and I really love how great they are in this movie. They're fantastic, and it's just one of those movies that it sticks with you. It's so great, and the ending of the movie where like it ends on a note where you're like, holy shit, that was dark, and then it just ends. You're just like, that gave me such an incredible like bad way of feeling it whenever the movie's over. Like, it'll stick with you, and this movie does, and it has always stuck with me. I love this movie. Again, The Fly from 1958 is a really good movie, but this one I think is incredible. Like, it's like a masterpiece to me. Like, it blows me away. So it had to be my number one. And these films, even though I just watched for the first time the sequels, I still enjoyed them. I still thought they were okay fun for the most part. But of course, I really love the Fly movies, just the 1958 and the 86 one. So it's a fun little franchise, and I really enjoyed delving into the sequels. I think that this was an awesome. Finally, I got to see them all, because apparently, The Curse of the Fly was not like released for like 20-30 years, like on video. Like, it never was released until like in the 2000s, and it came out in like 1960s, 50s, I think, somewhere around there. I think 60s. So it's interesting to get that Scream Factory box set. I'm so glad I bought that. If you guys are a fan of any of these movies, I definitely recommend going to get that box set before it goes out of print. But as of this video, that is my rankings. Tell me down below how you guys would rank them, because I'm really curious, and I'm curious if people have even seen all the sequels, because some people I know haven't. And whatever of the Fly movies you've seen, you can rank those down below. So tell me down below your rankings, and thank you guys so much for watching. Hey guys, if you like this video, consider checking out my other content. I review a majority of films that are pretty recent, and also older films, and mostly horror as well. Horror is my favorite genre, so I expect a lot of horror. And check out all my links down below. I have a link to Patreon, I have a link to Instagram, link to Twitter, link to my Facebook group, Horror Enthusiast 101, and to my own personal Facebook page, CDR Movie Reviews. And thank you for anybody who watched this video. Thanks for watching.